Hey everyone, Morgan here. Album of the week for this week. We're talking about a true masterpiece. It's called Love Supreme by John Coltrane. So we're going to go deep into jazz now, and I mean deep. Uh, you might love it, you might hate it, but you need to hear it at least once. It's had some really profound influence. Coltrane was truly a master of his art. He had played with Miles Davis. We talked about Miles a while back. Uh, then struck out on his own. Had some really great guys in his band. Everybody who played actually on this recording is now dead, unfortunately. It was recorded in December of '64 over 2 days, and then released in January of '65. Rolling Stone has said that this album is in the top 100 of their 500 albums you must hear before you die. And I agree with that. You really need to hear this once. You might hate it, but it's had a big impact on a lot of musicians. Carlos Santana and John McLaughlin have recorded what they almost consider tributes to this album. They found it highly influential. I was first turned on to it, not through the jazz that I was listening to, but because U2's album, their live album that they released in 1988 called Rattle and Hum, two different spots on the album, they make reference in the lyrics to Coltrane in a song called Angel of Harlem and in just a ripping live version of Bullet the Blue Sky from the Joshua Tree. And I'm like, okay, if Bono's talking about it, it's worth me listening to. I found a friend that had a copy of it, another teacher at the school I was at, and he really got me interested in jazz because of that. It is really one of the only truly American forms of music. Now, jazz was not big with a lot of people. It had a very loyal following, but it was small, okay? And the folks into it thought this was an amazing record, okay? Others on the outside had trouble understanding that it was like one piece of music with three movements in it. Some repeating sounds in there. The rhythms were the same. Coltrane playing alto saxophone, maybe tenor actually. I think he was playing tenor on it. He had a guy playing stand-up bass, a piano player, and a drummer, and an amazing sound that just came out of the four of them. He was unfortunately taken from us way too early. Coltrane died when he was about 40 years old of cancer. And he hadn't even really told anybody he was sick. Miles Davis at the time said he was just shocked. He's like, I know he didn't look so great, but I didn't realize he was sick or near death. He would have probably gone on and done some amazingly different things like Miles did. Miles started off in true hardcore jazz in the late 40s, 50s, culminated with Kind of Blue in '59. Then he went in a very different direction and released something that we featured as an album a week not too long ago called Bitches Brew, which was the invention of fusion, which, even hip hop can trace itself back to fusion. Now, for A Love Supreme, I always thought it was kind of a spiritual piece, okay? Not religious, just spiritual. And Coltrane was not the most vocal guy in the world talking about what his influences in that were. He just let the music speak for himself. So I am strongly, strongly encouraging you to play it once. You may never play it again, okay, but do it this one time and at least check out what is really a masterpiece of the jazz era. All right, thanks for tuning in. This is Morgan signing off.